Blerdkast, presented to you by Blerdography. What's going on, everybody? It's me, Mark, and I'm back again with another Blerdography episode. And on today's episode, we're going to do something a little bit different. I have a special guest here, an old buddy of mine who I haven't been able to keep in contact with a lot, but I'm glad we're here today. And today we're going to do something special for you guys. We're going to play a little Magic Arena, and we're going to talk about TCG. If you don't know, that means trading card games. Me and this friend, we have a good history of playing trading card games in high school and college, and I guess even now into our adulthood. But go ahead and introduce yourself, special guest.
My name is Kenneth Florence. Been playing trading card games pretty much since I was a kid. Been playing with our host here since high school, so all the way from Yugioh now to Magic. So you're going to see me beat him a lot right now. So just, stick by for the entertainment.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you're gonna beat me. I haven't really been playing like how I have been playing. I've been busy. I've been trying to build a deck all day, and all I did was modify my main deck. So let's just see how this goes.
Yeah, I threw some. I threw something together yesterday, so hopefully this works. We're gonna see.
Okay, hopefully it works. But why don't you tell me, what have you been geeking out to recently? What video games, comics, books, whatever, TV shows, movies, what have you been geeking out to recently?
Lately, I've gotten, of course, Attack on Titan, because it's getting ready to, pretty much, it's towards the end, I was winding down, it's getting really, really good. So, been watching that faithfully every Sunday. Going to see the Batman tomorrow morning. My wife bought tickets, so we're going to go check that out. And recently got into this anime on Netflix called Kuroko no Basket. It's a basketball anime. Different, but I like it. It's really entertaining, so I like it.
Okay. What's different about it?
I never really watched like a sports anime, so it's kind of cool how they're like the detail to it and how they flesh out the characters, their abilities. It's more than just it's basketball, but it's like it's interesting. Like you have to watch it,
okay,
to kind of understand. So,
okay, no problem there. Have you watched Peacemaker?
Yes, I watched every single episode. I absolutely love the show. I was going to support it anyway because I'm a big wrestling fan. So anything like John Cena or any wrestler's going to do outside of wrestling, I'm going to support it anyway. And to me, I think he killed it as Peacemaker. So
yeah, he definitely killed it as Peacemaker. I completely fell out of wrestling because of John Cena, but seeing him in this actually made me wish I was more mature and stuck around with it. But wrestling's faking and it's just drama for grown men anyway, so it doesn't matter. But fair, I like him in this.
Fair assessment.
But I like him in this. I love Danielle Brooks. I love her amazing performance. I love everybody. It was a strong cast all around. Nobody really outshined each other.
I don't know, man. Vigilante kind of stuck out to him, man.
Okay, well, yeah. Vigilante is going to be the new Deadpool. I can just see that now. He definitely did steal the show. Especially he put himself into jail, and just started messing with the Aryan race. That was hilarious. Kudo points for that. Kudo points for that. Wow. I just realized I'm just sitting here talking. I'm not even paying attention to the game. So this is a little multitasking I got to sit here and try to figure out. But anyway, let's move on to some news. I don't know if you still play Pokemon. I know back in the day we used to play Pokemon a lot, but there's been some big Pokemon news. Game Freak has announced Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet Generation 9 to be released later this year, and I'm definitely excited about that. I've been playing Legend of Arceus myself, been playing Shining Diamond and Brilliant Diamond and Shiny Pearl. I gotta get used to saying that. And I've just been having a blast. It's been one of my favorite games and favorite franchises to play of all time. Now Gen 9's coming around. I'm super excited for it. What about you?
I saw the news. I thought it was pretty cool. Like to see more details about it. I haven't played a Pokemon game in a while, just because they just kind of, it felt like they was kind of cranking them out like a little too much, a little too often. And I always felt like a Pokemon release should be like special, and not just a yearly or semi yearly type release. So It's interesting. Looks good. Looks really good from the screenshots they showed, and I definitely want to see more on it just to get a better grasp of it. So
Well, hopefully they take what they did with Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is a complete revamp, and overhaul of how they've done the previous main series games before. So I hope they take a lot of that and take a lot of what they put in Sword and Shield, and they just revamp it to something that we all can enjoy.
yeah, I agree with that.
So I'm really excited to see about it. The starters look pretty interesting. Looks like they broke the mold on the Chinese Zodiac with the fire starters. But again, I'm down for it. I'm waiting to see where it goes.
And everybody's talking about was it the duck one? It looks like
Yeah.
Donald Duck's
cool, yeah,
really cool cousin.
Yeah, that actually looks really dope. I've never started a Pokemon series with a water starter, but this might be the one where I break the mold and finally start a main series game through my first playthrough with a water starter, because I want to call him Darkwing Duck so bad. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be like
every single Pokemon game I do play the water. I start with the water every time. So
yeah. Usually I've been sticking with fire. That's been my shtick, and I've been burnt by it, having 3 fire fighting starters in a row. But I'm curious to see, like, even the weed cat. I guess the internet is calling the grass starter the weed cat. That looks pretty dope. And I'm pretty sure the fire starter is going to be the first fire dragon starter type, which I think will be just automatically broken. But we'll see how it goes. Oh my god, you are beating me in this game. We're not even talking about like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh yet. And all right, so let's move on. You say you're going to go see the Batman this weekend. Hopefully I'll be able to see it too, and I'll be able to post up a review later this week. But are you excited to see it? Are you happy? Give me your thoughts about it.
I'm a very huge Batman's my favorite superhero. So I mean, I'm always excited. I'm always going to support them, whether how good, how bad they are. And I feel like this one's gonna be very polarized. I feel like either I'm hearing reviews that it's the greatest Batman ever, and I'm hearing other folks say they absolutely hate it. So walking into it is either gonna be a complete masterpiece or it's gonna be a train wreck. But I'm all for it.
Right.
So I feel like the bar was set really high with Dark Knight and also set really low with Batman and Robin. So I mean, who knows? But I mean, I would definitely can't wait to go see it tomorrow morning. So
I don't know. I feel like I'm in superhero fatigue with the success of the MCU and everything the DCEU is doing. And just with everything coming out, I'm kind of like, don't get me wrong, I love superhero movies, I love the genre, but I'm like, you're doing another Batman movie. Spider-Man was great. I always love Spider-Man, and I do love Batman too. But I'm like, we've done dark and gritty Batman, and I was looking forward to see more of the Ben Affleck Batman. But I'm kind of waiting to see more from that. So I'm just kind of on the fence. Just like, give me something we haven't seen. I haven't seen anything that I'm like, oh my god, I got to go see this movie about. But we'll see. If I go see it this weekend, maybe it's good. Hopefully it's good. So I don't know.
Yeah, I hope so, man. But we're gonna see, because you never know. Plus, I really want to see how, I keep forgetting his name, the guy's playing Batman. But I really want to see how he does portray it as Batman. So
yeah. Because what else could he do? What else could he do that hasn't been done?
I mean, everyone says like, "Oh, that's the guy from Twilight," and that's how forever he'll be seen. So
that's true. That is true. So let's move on into this little small interview / segue. Again, we're going to talk about trading card games, but like with everybody who's new to the show, who's never been on, I just want to get a little backstory of you and what makes you a Blerd, if you recognize as being a Blerd or not. I'm pretty sure you do. I know you a little well, so I think you fit right with this conversation. So what makes you a black nerd? What makes you tick? What are the things you like to geek out to, and things from your childhood that's transcended to you as an adult now?
Pretty much anything sci-fi, comics, pro wrestling, trading card games, of course, what we're going to be talking about here today, action figures, Pretty much anything. I'm into trying new things. So going to conventions, all the things, stereotypical nerds do.
Right.
But a lot of times it's not a lot of us there. So
Right. True.
but just really just being just kind of open and not doing the norm stuff as well. I don't think anything is normal, but just doing stuff that people outside of like normal culture would say, hey, that's nerdy-ish stuff to do.
Right. Gotcha. So what were some of the things that you liked growing up to do that was considered nerdy and not the norm?
Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, playing Pokemon. I started out playing the Pokemon trading card game. Carrying my Game Boy to school, playing Pokemon Red between classes, and every Halloween dressed up as like a Power Ranger or Star Wars character. Just being different, doing different things. So,
gotcha. Did you ever find like camaraderie? Obviously you did, because we're friends and we've known each other from high school. But tell me about your experiences finding camaraderie in other Black nerds who were interested in the same thing you were. Like, we were both a part of like the gaming club and anime clubs and all the different weird stuff in a predominantly Black high school, and that was a trying experience if anything. So I would be interested in knowing like your side of a lot of those same things that I had to go through from the same place.
At first I would say you try to find like that happy medium where it's like you want to enjoy, the things of nerd culture that you enjoy, like Power Rangers, Star Wars, and etc. We also want to find that medium, making friends and things like that. So you kind of like, you talk about it, but not a lot. And then finally just kind of say, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to embrace this. And, this is what I like, deal with it. So, once I finally, realized, actually started embracing that and being open about what I enjoy and realizing there's a lot more of these people around me that are like that. They're my skin color. So I would say it wasn't as challenging because I found a lot of friends like you and other friend Mauricio and, people like that. So going through like middle school, high school, and so forth, finding people that like the same things I like, it wasn't really that hard.
Okay, that's what's up. Did it change any once you got to college and you went to that level? Because we both went to the same college also. At some point we end up at the same college going for game programming. Did it like get better or get worse for you once you got to college? Because a lot of people like tell me that their geekiness opened up once they got to college and was finally able to get around more people like us, which we already had a community of people, because a lot of people we went to high school with was there with us in college too.
Oh yeah, it absolutely exploded when we got to college. I mean, day one, I'm walking into the main, I guess, commons area, and I'm seeing people, they're playing, moving on their laptops. I see people playing PS3. A guy I'm now good friends with now, who actually turned out to be at my wedding, a friend of mine named George, he walks into and says, hey, I'm starting, this gaming club. Would you like to join? So it completely exploded. And it was just every day, it was just gaming and card games, and just, it was like finding your tribe, like you were lost for a while and you found your tribe, the people, that are just like you.
Right. I agree. I definitely agree. I definitely feel like I found my tribe. Let me ask you this, because we're just going to start talking about trading card game stuff now, but we've played TCG card games both on the tournament level and casual level with friends and at comic book shops and card shops. Have you noticed a difference with playing with a group of other Blerds versus playing with a group of other cultures and other people? Have you noticed like play style differences or just personality differences and things like that? Because I think I've noticed something that I found interesting. I wanted to see if we saw the same thing.
I would definitely say play with other Blerds. It's more fun. We tend to have more fun while we're playing the games, I would say. Versus I don't want to single like other races out, but I would just say there's other races that might always play seriously or take it a little too serious at times. When you just try to kick back if we're somewhere drinking or doing other stuff and just having a good time playing the game.
Right.
Because at the end of it, we're playing this to have fun. It doesn't have to be serious all the time. So,
I agree with you. But I think Blerds take it the most serious because think about So
okay,
we played Spades together, right?
Well, see, that's different. So like that's a whole nother. Spades is different because I can't put it into words, but it's like it's just different. You take that differently because that's a game that's more open to like beyond Blurs. That's like your cousins, your aunts.
I don't
anybody.
know. I've treated every single card game I played, whether it's Spades, Bones, Gin Rummy, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh! Versus, the same. I got to bring that same level of energy. The same way I play Spades is the same way I would play you in Magic right now if I could concentrate and multitask and have a podcast.
Well, I mean, you're about to beat me, so yeah.
Am I? Well, oh shit, I am. Okay.
Yeah, you're about to. Yeah, it's about to get bad. So I only got one move here, but
I bring that same level of energy. Like I'm the type of player. I'm an asshole. Like if I'm at the table, regardless of what card game we're playing, I'm the villain. I get it. I'm the manipulator. I'm fucking with everybody at the table. I'm cussing my own podcast, but that's the type of player I am. So I bring that same level of intensity to every card game I play. And I know in the Blerd culture, it can be like that. I've been at Magic the Gathering tables and Yu-Gi-Oh tables, and they smacking cards across the table and doing all kinds.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like remember the days North Cab? Like
definitely. That's what I'm talking about. North the Cab, good old North the Cab Mall. So for those of you who don't know,
that mall, boy. Oof.
North the Cab Mall used to be this really prominent mall back in the 90s. I don't want to say prominent. It was an okay mall. Then it just sucked. It just sucks now. It's garbage. But we used to go there in our youth and play play Yu-Gi-Oh! And
every Thursday.
Every Thursday. And getting cards stolen and getting ripped off, and it was a lot.
People playing for money, people playing for bus fare. It was crazy.
Oh yeah, I remember having to play for bus fare. Man. I'm glad I feel like I was a better Yu-Gi-Oh player than I am Magic, even though I like Magic more. But I think it was because it was Yu-Gi-Oh was life or death. Like I remember getting into fights because dudes at school threw all of our cards away, or we fighting each other because we got just got infighting within the group and somebody stole somebody's cards or some other random stuff or jokes going too far. We took that seriously.
Yeah, that is true.
You're gonna win. I can't even focus right now. You're gonna win. I give up. I surrender. Just attack them with all your creatures.
It's my only move, man. Because you got that huge 16-16, so I got to do something. Because you're just gonna slowly pick off her creatures. I'm just gonna swing with everybody.
Oh, that did nothing. That did nothing. What? Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
This is gonna be interesting. You did nothing. So let me ask you this. You play both Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! What other TCG card games have you played?
Well, I started out as a kid. I started out with Pokemon, when it first came out. Literally, I don't know if you remember the whole Pokemon League that Toys R Us used to do.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, during those days, my mom, she worked at a hotel that was literally across the street from Toys R Us. So on Saturdays, I would literally go to work with her. I would help out, whatever, make a little money, and then I would just walk across the street and go to the Pokemon League. And I used to do that religiously, every Saturday for years. And it was just kids just trading and, begging their moms to buy packs and playing the game. And I was invested, but I wasn't really invested. And then literally one day I watched the Yu-Gi-Oh cartoon for the first time. And I said, well, you know what? And I sold all my Pokemon cards, which to this day, I hate I did. And I bought a Yu-Gi-Oh starter deck, and everything went from there.
That's what's up. So like I mentioned earlier, we both went to a little high school in Stone Mountain, Georgia. And I think it was around 2002, 2003. I was a grade higher than you because I remember when I started playing, it was around the same time. Funny story. So I was a broke child in high school and did not have money to go play, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and could not get money to play Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So my first ever Yu-Gi-Oh deck I ever had, I stole from KB Toys and got caught stealing it. I've never told anyone that story. I've never stolen anything prior to or since then because it just shocked me so bad. But I was like, I really gotta play this game. My buddy Marcel got the dragons and Barrel Dragon, and everybody else got all these cards, and I have nothing. And I got caught stealing like a dumbass. When all I had to do was just take it and walk out. I'm sitting here trying to rip up the package and stuff in my pants. I was like, whatever. It's an embarrassing story, but that's how I got into Yu-Gi-Oh, because peer pressure, and everybody's like, oh, you too poor to get Yu-Gi-Oh cards and all this and that. And I'm like, fine, whatever. I got a deck. I got the Dark Magician deck, and that's how I started playing playing Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yep. I had the Kaiba one with the Blue Eyes White Dragon because I thought Blue Eyes was the coolest ever. So when I got rid of all my Pokemon stuff and I bought a Blue Eyes deck on my way out, thinking I was going to be the greatest, and I got thrashed for months. So I think I remember those days when I was pretty terrible when we first started out. So yeah.
Well, we all did, especially since we, none of us really knew how to play the game or whatever, but it was what it was. What are you doing? Yeah. What are you doing? Where's my graveyard? All right, let's go. You're doing some stuff over here.
Sun Gold Sentinel.
All right.
Gotta love her. But yeah, so transition to Yu-Gi-Oh. And I think we played a lot at school, and I forgot the name of that store, Stonecrest Mall, we used to play at too. I forgot the name of it.
I remember that place. It's long gone now, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I always guess that was probably my first taste of playing competitively. Because I just got destroyed there so bad, and then finally met a guy named Robbie. I don't know if you remember Robbie.
No, I remember Robbie. I remember him. He helped a lot of us get better.
Oh, he helped damn near all of us. And he would just say, why don't you try making a beatdown deck? And I was like, well, what in the world is that? He was like, he started showing me all these different cards, 1900 attack. And what became one of my favorite cards, Don Zaluga, you play this. And then he started helping, build this little really cheap deck. And I started winning some games. And from there, it was just kind of off to the races at that point. And then once you start winning, you want to learn more, and you start gaining more knowledge about the game. And then now you're invested.
Right.
And that's when it really got fun. So
I agree. I think that was because prior to going to Stonecrest Mall with everybody, meetings, people like Robbie, and just being able to interact with everybody else, and also having money to buy more cards, I didn't really understand the structure of the game, but I was just like, this is fun. I'm so interested in learning more about the mechanics and just seeing different strategies emerge and how to use different cards and strategies and combos and things like that. And that I was that was just my thing since then. Deck building still to this day is my favorite thing to do in any card game, just breaking down what you have.
Just brewing ideas and see how you can make this work with this, or how you can make something better.
Exactly. So you played Yu-Gi-Oh basically since from when it was introduced into the United States until when did you do and I know you've done this a few times, when did you start selling off your Yu-Gi-Oh collection for the first and then second time?
First time I sold it off was, I want to say, right around 2012. Just working, didn't really have time for it. The job I had was just really, really demanding, so I just didn't have time to play. Just to get right back in 3 months later. Because I couldn't walk away from the game, because how people say, people never really quit. And during that time I started playing just I got a better job. I was more relaxed, had more money, which means I could buy more cards. I could buy better cards. I could play tier 1 decks now. Why not get back in? So that's what I did. And I played on again probably for another, I want to say about 2.5 years. And finally got to a point where I was just like, man, the game is just kind of boring. It's kind of dry. Because, like, I don't know when you got out. Like, when did you get out?
I want to say 2010 I got out because that was my last year at DeVry. And after that, I was like, I need money. Mm-hmm. I sold off my collection for about $300 or so bucks or so, which was stupid because I could have got a lot more for that stuff. I had just waited like an extra week or two when the set was changing out. And then I moved to DC like shortly after that, and then I haven't looked back at Yu-Gi-Oh until like maybe a couple of years ago when I was just happened to be on YouTube and just saw a bunch of other black dudes who are really into Yu-Gi-Oh on the YouTube channel, and they're going to target
APS.
Yes, and like I started watching their channel and then just seeing how the game has evolved over the years, and I'm like, it's not even the same game anymore to me. I don't even recognize the stuff they're doing. They're linking cards together. What the hell is that?
Yep, and that's what I was about to get to. Well, one, Team APS is dope. So any Blerds out there, if you want to see like a cool like Yu-Gi-Oh group, all black, check them out. They're really dope. But the thing that changed with like Yu-Gi-Oh as we like when we were younger versus what it is now is like the creativity is gone. So back in days like Invasion of Chaos and Labor for Nightmare, it was about, hey, I won. Cool.
I mean, it's not like I was paying attention anyway.
Fair enough. But we could definitely run that back. Just send out an invite.
Yeah, I'm finna do that.
But back in those days, it was like, buying packs, seeing what cards you got, see what goes with what, and pairing it off and stuff like that. Because even like my very last deck was it was a deck called Plant Synchro. And if you looked at it, like the cards separately, you're like, there's no way this stuff works together. There's all kinds of random stuff. There's zombies, there are plants, there's warriors, there's machines, but it worked. And it's just about creativity. But then it hit a point where it was all about archetypes, where it's just like they would release this new group of monsters. Like, for example, there's one called Mermail, which basically is a bunch of, sea creatures and stuff like that. And all you got to do is pretty much get 3 of each of those creatures, put them in that together, and boom, you got a tier 1 deck. And then they went from that. They had another one. What's the other one called? There was another really broken one around that time. Oh, wind-ups. They're like little wind-up toys. Same thing. You can get 3 of those of each. You got yourself a tier 1 deck. So it was like the creativity was gone. It was getting kind of dry. It was becoming like one deck formats where pretty much either you played this deck or you just didn't win. And I was just like, yeah, I think I'm done. Because the creativity is gone and everybody's just playing the same thing. No real thoughts going into it. It's the same match every time. It was just really, really dry. So...
Well, I started to see seeds of that even before I left out, because I remember before I left out, I was heavy into the meta scene, and it was the same, like the top 8 decks that everybody would play, Card Trooper, Cyber Dragon, stuff like that was popular at the time. I'm showing my age, by the way. But I kind of got tired of that, because even though I was like, okay, I think the last time we entered a tournament, I made it to top 8 by accident because just got lucky or whatever, and then I just could not win after that. And after that I was like, this tournament style thing is just kind of killing the fun of what it is that I like about playing this game. And I just like playing cards and fucking with my friends and just being headaches for them, and all this metagame stuff and the money we were spending into it wasn't worth it to me. So I was like, I'm glad to walk away. I want to find something like this that's cheaper, which led me to Magic the Gathering.
Well, tournaments can be fun if the formats are healthy, but like the way Konami went about like creating archetypes and so forth, I would say right around that time, it was probably right around 2013, it just started going downhill for me.
Right.
And that's when I just kind of checked out on it, because I was just like, well, yeah, maybe it's just not for me anymore. They're making it easier. It's easier accessible. It's easier to get in. It's easier to play. A lot of folks, it's just it's like they kind of turned down the difficulty. Say they turned it down to like novice, and I just kind of checked out.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Because I think a lot of what I enjoyed about it was the level of difficulty getting to, especially like when we was in college at DeVry, that fun place, and you know, all of us, me, you, Mauricio, LJ, George, were all getting together, building decks and playing each other.
Yeah,
I even remember me and you got into a fight one night. We was practicing for tournaments. You came with that rubber band I did for when we make mistakes and stuff like that, and me and you got into a fight. And Mauricio just sat there and just like, Mark, you caused this. This is all your fault. You're the asshole. And I was like, you know what? You're right. You're right. I can't even be mad about that. But yeah.
Even prime example is like literally the last regional I played for Yugioh, I top 8'd, and I played this deck called Agents. Was basically like an angel deck. And literally all I did was buy 3 structure decks, and I got my hands on 3 card troopers, and I put it all together, and I went out there and I went undefeated.
Wow, that's
all
ridiculous.
So at that point I was like, man, the challenge is gone. I'm kind of done with it. And at that point I just got out. I stayed out for a good while. I didn't get back into anything for at least a couple of years until I got into Magic. So
what got you into Magic?
Starting out, it was actually Arena. Arena came out, it was free. I played it because I kind of dabbled in Magic beforehand a little bit, but I didn't really get too into it. Arena came out and I started putting decks together, started winning, and it was fun. It was really fun. And literally last Dragon Con, me and George, who we both know from college, we went to on Sunday. They had this Commander event. It was like Commander Melee Chaos or some weird name they made it. But basically it was 8 of us at a table, and you pay $25. You had to pick a number between 1 and 5. They gave you a random Commander deck, and we had to play until last man standing. And I got 3rd place. First time ever playing Commander, and I had an absolute blast. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to take this serious now. So I started doing research online. I started seeing what people are playing. What's the metagame like? What's the tournament scene like? And I see a lot of people are playing, standard, modern, and just what decks were good in those. So I said, okay, fine. I'll build a standard deck. I'll build a modern deck, and I'll start find a nice local somewhere, and I'll start going. And been off to the races ever since.
How have you noticed a difference in between the two communities? I know people who play both one game usually play the other game, but have you noticed a difference in like game style play and just a communal change with the differences in between the two games and how non-serious and serious players take them?
One thing I will say, and not to ish on Yu-Gi-Oh, but I'm going to ish on Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic is a way better game, hands down. It's not even close. Just the variety it offers you in terms of formats, the cards, creativity still exists in Magic. There's so much you can do. Like if you're a serious player, you can play Modern, Standard, Pioneer. If you're just a casual player, you can play Commander. If you have some really old cards that you don't want to get rid of, you can play things like Legacy. There's so many formats online you can play with MTG Arena, or you can play MGO. Or we just found a new one. Friend of Mike, he found a new one called Cockatrice that you could try out new decks on. It's so much there available for the players in Magic that Yu-Gi-Oh just doesn't offer it now.
I agree. I don't think I know Yu-Gi-Oh at one point had a couple of formats, but like it's just something with Magic. Even when you just take it down, because I got into Magic a lot sooner before they introduced all these extra formats and stuff. I've been lucky to be able to play, and they create these new formats. I remember when Pioneer was a thing, and when they created that format, I immediately went and made a Pioneer deck. Or when Cube was a thing, or drafting and all that stuff started coming about, and Magic started to become really big in the 2010s era. I remember just having a lot of old cards. I think the thing that made Magic like stick out for me and made it more fun was the rule set allowed you to use cards from every generation, every iteration of this game. The ban list for Magic the Gathering at the time was like non-existent, maybe some Lotus cards, and that's about it. So you could just take any card and make a 60 card deck and just go have fun with it. So I just had fun gathering all the Magic cards throughout the history of the game that I could, and just building stuff with my friends and just having fun doing that, playing with cards from different sets and just combining the weird mechanics and Magic, because you can exploit the mechanics in Magic if you really know what you're doing. So like combining weird stuff I've never heard of, like what's a frenzy counter, what's a poison counter, they don't even do stuff like that no more, and then combining with like a lot of the newer stuff, it calls for a lot of interesting mechanics and a lot of weird gameplay, and remembering of rules and looking rules up. I never thought that could be so fun, looking up rules and having arguments about card rulings. Jesus, but I swear I agree with you. I think Magic the Gathering is definitely like the cream of the crop when it comes to the card games, the tabletop card games. Yu-Gi-Oh! Maybe a close second because they're so closely related. And then others have come and gone and tried to topple Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic, but they're still two main ones. They're still the money makers, and they're still kind of the funnest ones to play.
Oh yeah.
How did I do that? That's why.
Looks like you might win this one.
I probably am. So tell me more about your play style. Like both rather than Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic, did one play style, and did your play style in Yu-Gi-Oh! Translate to your play style in Magic, or did you have to change it up based off how the rules and mechanics of both games work? Because as much as they are similar, they're very different games.
Oh yeah, very different. And in Yu-Gi-Oh, I was pretty much a control player. I like playing decks with lots of traps cards or monsters that say you can't do this, you can't do that.
Right.
Things like monarchs and stuff like that. In Magic, I consider myself a pretty aggressive player because one, I'm still fairly new to the game, so like I'm still learning all these mechanics. But I mean, at the end of the day, you still gotta attack. So,
well, no, you don't. No, you don't.
See, exactly. See, I still gotta learn all that. So until then, I just play a lot of the decks that that promotes me just kind of fighting recklessly.
Okay.
With zero repercussions. So,
then you
like for example,
mono green.
Yeah, I was saying right now in standard, I'm playing mono green. My modern deck right now, I'm building. It's called Grixis Shadow, which is blue, red, and black. And Pioneer, I got a mono blue spirits deck. That's also just another aggro deck. So,
okay. Are you playing all these formats just through Arena, or are you actually getting together with other people and playing the formats like in person?
In person, only Modern and Pioneer, because pretty much in person standard is pretty much its own life support, but it's pretty much dead. It's dead. It's DOA. Just because the player base has pretty much changed how they think about standard when it comes to like their cards and the rotating formats, and people they kind of hate it now. So
kind of hate it. I've always hated standard and never got into it. I always played modern or historic just so I can play with the large set of the cards I spent my money on. Like, this stuff ain't cheap. Don't get me wrong. Magic gets kind of cheap. You can get cards and build great decks for like pennies on the dollar, but it's still
you want to win a modern.
Oh well, yeah. You're gonna have to spend some money. Let's not even talk about vintage and historic, like going back getting all the legacy cards and stuff. That's
some of the top decks around like $2,000. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah. I used to joke about how expensive Yu-Gi-Oh got, and because you remember we were spending like hundreds of dollars. Remember when Bazoo Return was a thing? A Bazoo was like $50 a card at one point, and I bought 3 of them to build that deck and not pay my rent. Yeah. Yeah, so Magic, you can get some cheap stuff, but it skyrockets, astronomically. It skyrockets and it gets so ridiculous if you want to be really competitive with it.
Yeah, the very first deck I built in Modern was actually probably the cheapest I built was goblins. I built it for a total of $65 because a bunch of guys at the local game shop I go to in Duluth, they gave me a bunch of the cards because they're so cheap. They were just like, "Yo, you want to get here? You know, this will help you out, and you should build this." So they're just kind of showing me, which is one thing to speak about the community too. I think the Magic community is a little more welcoming. Also,
Yeah, I can say that. I can definitely say that. Don't get me wrong. I've like people like Robbie and I can't remember half those guys' names because it was so long ago. But there were a lot of friendly people who like honestly helped you out. But there was a lot of grifting in Yu-Gi-Oh. But with Magic, it is a more friendly, more welcoming community. Definitely ain't nobody sitting here stealing cards and out of binders and stuff left and right like how we had to do back in high school.
Well, I think it attributes to it's being a more mature game, so it attracts a more mature audience too.
True. That is definitely true.
Like I've been to tournament, like comparing like Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments and Magic tournaments, it's a different vibe. Like it's a more mature vibe. Everyone's here to just kind of have fun. You know, hopefully, you know, place high. If it's a money tournament, hope to win some money, things like that. That's another huge plus. That also, Magic, you can win money because they let you do that. The one thing I always hated about Yu-Gi-Oh was like the tournament format was the prize support. The prize support was always just more cards. No matter what, it was always just more cards.
I remember that, yeah.
So I was like, oh, well, I'll top this event. What do you get? I just get the opportunity to win more cards to keep putting back into this game. I don't really get anything else. Versus like Magic, there's a store in Duluth. Once a month, they do a $1,000 tournament.
Oh, really?
Every single month. Yeah.
In which format?
Modern.
Huh. I can't afford Modern.
You can build goblins. You can build goblins with like. All right. That's if you like red. So.
All right. So that actually brings up my next question. My next question I was going to ask you is: in Magic, what colors do you normally stick to? And even though red is my favorite color, I do not care for red in Magic because it just reminds me of like. Well, first of all, I just hate goblins. I had a weird introduction to Magic back in high school. I don't think you remember this guy. You remember Jeremiah from?
Yeah.
Oh, you do know him. So yeah, he introduced me to Magic, and he had a goblin deck, and I never won. And he gave me all the cards that I ever played with up until that point, and I never was able to beat him in that goblin deck. And then he introduced something else to me that became my favorite, slivers. We'll talk about we'll talk about that later. But what colors do you normally stick to in Magic whenever you're building any kind of deck?
Definitely red. I like red. I like white, and red, white, and blue. Those are my three favorite colors. I would say number one would probably definitely be red, mainly because my favorite card, Dragon Rage Chandler. Like she's the most brokenest card ever. Like I don't understand why this card is created. But she is so good.
Gotcha.
And every deck I play will have her in it because she's just that good.
Okay. Me, obviously, like, you know, the easiest to entry color is green because it's the most straightforward. And if I'm being my most asshole self, I'll make a blue and black deck because that's all the control and all that stuff. For those of you who don't know, I guess we'll talk about this for a little bit while we're still playing this game. Magic is broken down to 6-ish colors: red, blue, green, black, and white. And each color is strong in certain functions, but ultimately, especially if you do them from throughout the history, they all kind of do the same thing, just in different ways. And the fun part is just combining the different colors and mechanics together and building a library of 60 cards and just having fun, or whatever format you're playing in. I do like the Commander format as well as the Modern format, and just being able to take cards and just build a deck and just go for it. My favorite colors, like I said, I like green. I like green and white together, and mono white as well. And I like, when I'm feeling my most smart, my most smug, everyone's beneath me, I'll throw in blue to whatever color combination and then start doing with the control stuff. Being able to counter card creature spells or just counter spells and return cards to hands and like take control of creatures and just do sneaky stuff like that. Just reminds me of like some of the stuff I like to play in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, and I mainly stick to red because like red is just known for being aggro. Haste and
right,
burning people and stuff like that. It promotes aggression. So having red cards, especially like some of the best cards right now in Modern are red, which is Drag Race Chandler and Ragavan. Ragavan is very, very broken. Like I'm predicting that card is probably going to be banned within the next 2 years. I like white mainly because of the removal. Path Exile, Prismatic Ending are two of the best removal cards in the history of Magic. And blue mainly just because who doesn't like the counter cards? So that's still a little bit of control player music. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then blue has the mill effect. Like if you combine blue and black, you can get like a really powerful mill type of combination. Like you said, red is usually burn. Green is usually strong offense and strong defense and just straightforward attacking and blocking, but they kind of really lack in the flying department. And white kind of is definitely about powering up creatures. White has the life link and stuff like that, which life link is one of my favorite mechanics. Like it's the deck I'm playing with you now.
Yeah.
And you should resolve that so we can keep this game going. And I just like the creativity behind everything you can do in Magic between combining the colors and the different mechanics and the creature typings and archetypes together. One of my favorite Magic decks that I've built was a mono green elf deck that all it did was just power itself up and give me a F ton of creatures, and I would just overwhelm my opponents with creatures. And because I like playing in a group format where we're doing like 3 or more people, and I just like sitting back, building up my forces, and then just being the most powerful person on the stage while playing mind games and convincing people I'm weak and I can't do stuff and all this and that, and while I'm secretly just building up my forces and just rocking out my cock out. If Mauricio was here, he will say that.
Well, that's my commander deck is right now. That's why I got mono green elves. Well, it's green and black elves.
Okay, that's good. And you brought up some of your favorite cards in the game. Like, I like that you have specific cards that you like that whenever it's in rotation or whatever, you just try to play with it. Because I'm the same way. Like, I like Shark Tornado or whatever. With the blue, it's a blue card with the sharks. Wherever you, if it's an enchantment, whenever you cast the instant or sorcery or something like that, you create a shark token with the power and toughness. Yep. Yeah, I love that card for some reason. And just combining it with some of the just dumb stuff. I'm that type of person. I like to build my decks where I have like multiple win conditions that work in different ways. So like I'll make it to where it'll do stuff that I didn't even plan my deck to do just because I got like a lot of rare and mythic rare cards in my deck and just have these effed up abilities that I just try to exploit. That's just so fun to me.
Yeah, I feel you on that. See, I just really like imposing my will, and I just like winning fast. So that's how I'm just a really aggressive player. If it has haste, I'm probably gonna play it. Because I went from goblins, I build mono red prowess. So I was playing cards like Monastery Swift Spear and Soul Scar Mage, Drag Race Chandler, Bedlam Reveler. And then you play like the burn spells like Lightning Bolt, Lava Dart, Unholy Heat, Tar Fire. So you were trying to kill your opponent by like turn 4 if you could. So
I like to draw out my victories and show my opponent how smug I am. I just like to just prevent my opponent from being able to do anything to me, especially if my deck counters them well, and then just mind fuck them to no end. I love just the mind games behind any of the card games. Oh my god, especially if I'm playing in a group. I just love like pitting your enemies against each other and you just come out the victor. Like, it doesn't even matter what deck you give me. I just do that and just play with the cards I'm dealt and just use like my social skills to win the game versus what the actual cards are. I like just playing with people like that. That's fine. I'm done. Your turn. So what were some of both in Yu-Gi-Oh and in Magic, what were some of your most memorable decks that you build and the mechanics behind those?
For Yu-Gi-Oh, most memorable, probably my favorite deck was the one I talked about earlier. The very, very last deck was it's called Plant Synchro.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's the weirdest hodgepodge of cards you would ever just see. So it was like Card Trooper was in it. Several like the junk monsters like Junk Synchron and Quick Draw Synchron. Dandelion. I'm trying to remember what else is in it. But basically the deck's mission was just to crank out a bunch of synchro monsters on like one turn and just kind of overwhelm your opponent. Or if you can't kill them, you put out enough to where they just say no to anything they try to do, any move they try to make. So either you kill them or you just control them, and then the very next turn you go ahead and finish them off. For Magic, I'll say the one I'm building right now I'm really excited about. It was a brew I saw online somewhere because I'm still learning, because good guy does a lot of cards in Modern. So trying to learn all these different cards and different card pools and sets that are still legal, it's a lot. So I do a lot of researching on like MTG Goldfish and just looking at different decks and people ideas. And I'll say the deck I'm building now is probably one I'm most excited about. Which is Grixis Shadow, where I get to play Dragon Rage Chandler. This other creature, it's a black creature called Death Shadow. That's a 13/13, and he gets minus XX, which is minus is whatever your life total is. So you play cards that pretty much take life from you. So you play cards like Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is a card like, you remember Confiscation in Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah.
Imagine you get to play 4 Confiscations. That's what Thoughtseize is.
Okay.
So the drawback is you lose 2 life, but that's fine because you want lower life to play Death Shadow. And also you gain more advantage still because you got Dragon Rage Chandler, Ragavan, and stuff like that too.
Right. Okay.
So it's like, I would say the deck is the closest thing to like aggro and also hand control.
Okay, cool. Let's see. I have more memorable Yu-Gi-Oh decks than Magic decks just because of the, I guess, competitive nature between the two games. Because I'm definitely more of a chill player in Magic, but in Yu-Gi-Oh I was like the competitive. But
I mean, you did have Bowser Return, so yeah.
Yeah, I did, and that was the first deck I was about to say. Like the one that I actually placed it on Nationals. The last time I did it was my Bazoo Return deck. It was my most expensive deck, and like I had the most fun playing that deck, being the most my true asshole-ish self. I definitely made a lot of enemies with that deck. Just like it was so broken. Like just Bazoo, keep powering up Bazoo, remove all the creatures from your graveyard into from out of the game, then just bringing them all back and then just killing. It was so fun. And then I finally had got the Cyber Dragons and Card Troopers I needed to make it work, and I was murdering people left and right. That was really fun deck. What was another deck? You remember before they had the first real official ban list, and spellcasters were really popular, and Dark Magician Return decks were really popular. I finally had a good one, and it was Robbie. Matter of fact, I think it was Robbie. He tricked me into trading me the cards I needed to build it, knowing that the ban list was going to happen a week later and the deck would be dead and I couldn't play with it. So I traded all my best stuff. I got the deck. I built it. I was kicking ass for like a week, maybe a week and a half. Then the ban list dropped and I had a dead deck. So I was kind of mad at that, but that was my stupid 14-year-old self for doing that.
I'll still say probably a few of the other really durable decks I had in Yu-Gi-Oh was there was DDT, Diamond Dude Turbo.
I remember
all the
that.
Destiny Heroes.
Yeah, I remember that.
Basically, you just being ultra aggro Dark Magician to Chaos. Loved that till they errated him and made him trash. Monarchs of any form, which is old school Monarchs with like Gravekeepers and stuff like that. One I really liked was Frog Monarchs, where basically you play no traps, so just all spells and monsters, and you just abuse Treeborn Frog.
Oh
You
my
play
god,
cards
I
like
remember
doors
that.
and stuff like that.
I
Yeah.
remember that. I hated playing against that so much. What was the one me and Mauricio was really into? Dark World creatures. I got really big into the Dark World creatures and their effects.
I remember Dark World. Yeah, Dark World was really good too. They actually had recently, because I still keep up with the game too. They had an archetype that paired with Dark World was like called Danger or something like that. And apparently a lot of people were playing that with Dark World recently. So
Okay. Okay, cool. If you were to just get like let's say someone gifted you the best meta deck right now in Yu-Gi-Oh, would you be able to go out and play Yu-Gi-Oh in its current format with the rules and everything? Because all the same rules we learned and played would still apply, but they have all this extra stuff that I have no clue what is. Like, what are the black cards? Like, what are those? No, those are not synchro cards because the synchro cards are the white ones, right?
yeah, the single cards are the white ones. The black ones are called Exceed monsters, and each have certain conditions. But like basically, it's supposed to be two monsters, whatever condition. But the basics of it is, say it's not a level, it's a rank. So the stars you see are black stars. Say it's how it has 4 stars, a 4 rank. It's a rank 4, and so you would need 2 creatures that are level 4, and what you do is you kind of lay them on top of each other, and then you can summon the Exceed monster. And for the effect, you usually got to detach one of the monsters that's underneath it, because now they're considered materials underneath it. So like one of the basic ones was this one called Utopia. He's a 2500 attack, and it required 2 level 4 monsters. And then all his effect is you can negate an attack once per turn by detaching material. And when it first came out, it was pretty busted because we also got this card called Tour Guide to Underworld. And Tour Guide to Underworld was a level 3 fiend. Whereas when it was normal summon, you got to summon a level 3 fiend from your deck. So what people do is you will summon Tour Guide and you will go grab Sangan. I know you remember Sangan.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll get Sangan, you'll overlay for this one called Leviathan Dragon that when it gets you to attach a creature, you get plus 500 attack. So you would Tour Guide, Sangan, overlay, detach Sangan, you gain 500, Sangan hits the grave, search. But then because people started abusing it too much, Konami had to eradicate it and Sangan couldn't get a search anymore.
That's broken. That's really broken.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Now the links, I kind of understand them a little bit, but if someone gave me a tier 1 deck now, I could probably do okay. It would take a while. I have to it's basically I'll be relearning the game now because apparently links changed the game forever. It's a completely different game, like the way you play it now. So
right. No, I'm with you. I wouldn't even know where to begin. I might actually just quit and give up because I'm just so lost.
I probably just sell it again, just get more magic cards. Honestly,
yeah, that's what I would do because that's just what I'm more familiar with. Just because of like we said earlier, the creativity and imagination and magic is really there, and like I don't have a learning curve. I know how like. Unlike in Yu-Gi-Oh, because this was the hardest thing for me to grasp once I switched over fully, was the ultimate law in Magic the Gathering is whatever the card says, that's the rule. That's how it works. That's not necessarily the case in Yu-Gi-Oh, where you have to go look up card rulings and see how the card affects draw out and things like that because it's kind of more complicated in the variations. But because of that one simple thing alone, because the simplest mechanic of the card rules itself, unlike in Yu-Gi-Oh, just alone made me just want to stay in this game. And why I think it's more important or more valuable to me than say Yu-Gi-Oh ever will be.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I've seen full blown like judge rulings take like 20-30 minutes at regionals before,
right?
Just because like even like the judge himself had to go like look up some stuff on Google,
right? That's messed up.
But I've seen, like for example, like the last Magic 1K I went to, there was like one ruling. The guy was like, "Hey, if I do this, can this happen? And the judge was like, no, that was in the discussion. That was it. So
yeah, I think just for me, and I was gonna ask you this, like, why do you still play card games? Like, we're adults, and what we do is designed for kids. It's 13 ages 6 and up, 13 and up, depending on which game you're playing. But we're still adults. We've been playing these card games majority of our lives by this point. Why do you still play? Why is this important to you?
Well, first I had to counter that. I think Magic is like all ages, I would say. But at the end of the day, it's still fun. I enjoy it. It gets me out of the house. I just want that one. Awesome. And also I like playing games that make you think and strategize. So
okay.
And it's some still I love video games, I love gaming, but it's something about like tabletop games that I really enjoy. It's something about, I guess, the interaction in person and thinking and seeing your ideas, come together, and you're thinking on the fly when you draw hands, you draw good hands, draw bad hands. Like, so much goes into it. And it's overall, it's just a really just fun experience that I can't really ever see myself letting it go. So that's why, like, when I first caught like that itch with Magic, I just kind of dove in head first. So it was just kind of good to get that feeling back.
I think I have to agree with you. I definitely agree with you. Like you said, Magic and all these card games are for all ages, but like with what you're able to do with everything that's involved, like, yeah, you can just get a deck and play it and have some fun, but it's more fun if you take those cards and combine them with other cards and start formulating other ideas and strategies and seeing how stuff works. It makes your brain just start turning gears, and that's just been something I've always been interested in. I've been that type of kid, that type of adult that just likes to learn and understands how things work entwined with each other. I kind of feel like at some point TCG games became the basis of who I am as a geek, because all else fails. Like, yeah, I always like Power Rangers, I always like Pokemon, but I will also always still go out and play a Magic the Gathering or a Yu-Gi-Oh or some type of card game, just because I like that part of me that likes to figure stuff out and problem solve and put puzzles together and even basic math, and just like, okay, if I have this many life points and this creature has this much power and toughness and I got to do this and that, can I do all this in one big swing and win the game, or do I have to do this in pieces? I like that problem solving aspect of it, and it kind of shows in what I do in real life with photography and video and stuff like that. But like, it's the basis of who I am, and I'm always going to be there. When I have kids, I'm going to teach them how to play this game, and we're going to connect through that, and I'm going to be able to like show, because like the one thing that I've seen all geeks, regardless of race, age, color, creed, sex, is that when you sit down at a card game, everything's equal, everything's fair, and it's just your skill set against that person's skill set. Were you paying attention to triggers and you missed the trigger or not, that determines everything. So yeah, I agree with you. I know I went on a rant, a really big rant. Let's do one more quick game, and then we can wrap this podcast up. But I've been enjoying this so far. This has been a really good catch up. I know what I want to ask you. You said you got married.
Yep.
How did that go? I heard you had a very interesting wedding.
Yeah, I had a Star Wars Day wedding.
Why don't you tell everybody about that?
Well, the idea came down when we started planning, and it was actually my wife's idea, shockingly, because I'm so used to the wife just it's her day. She wants to dictate it. Whatever she want to do, I didn't care. I was like, I'll just show up, whatever. And we had a wedding planner. She was like, well, what are your ideas? I was like, well, whatever she wants to do. My wife's like, let's do a Star Wars wedding. I just kind of looked at her and I was like, really? All right, cool. So everything came together, and we was trying to find that perfect line between like nice, but it not like look a kid's party also. So The world arena's acting weird. I'm gonna exit it, come back in. But so from our cake, which looks really awesome. I'll send you a picture of it. It's pretty dope. To like the candles, we did like little subtle things. So like we had candles that had like the little Star Wars emblems on them. As we said our vows, we had some of the music, like the music from Indoor, kind of playing in the background. It was really cool. Okay. It was really, really cool. So
okay, that's what's up. How obviously I assume your wife is just as big as of a geek as you are, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, she is.
How does that work out? How did you like find how can I say this in a PC term that won't get me canceled? How did you find a woman that was a geek that would really be into you? Because that's one thing that was missing from everything we talked about. It was a lack of women that was into playing Yu-Gi-Oh with us and stuff like that. There were a few, but they didn't stick around that long.
We just kind of bet online, and first day I just told her everything I was into, and she was like, "Oh, cool. Well, I like Harry Potter, and also like different shows. Like she's really heavy into like Dexter and Lost. She hates the ending. She likes Star Trek. I don't hold it against her though. But her big thing is Harry Potter, so that's what she's really into. So,
okay. And you said it was her idea for the Star Wars wedding?
It was her idea.
And y'all were happily ever after married after that, I'm assuming. Y'all have never had not one complaint. Because anytime you do something wrong, she's going to bring up you had a Star Wars wedding. And you kind of just got to sit there and like, you know what, you're right. Nobody else can say that.
Oh, we're going 5 years strong. So, no complaints.
Well, you got a good one there. Star Wars wedding. What is happening? What is taking so long for this to go through?
I have no idea. MTG Arena is acting crazy. I don't know. Maybe down for maintenance. Who knows?
All right. Well, I'm gonna close out and open it back up.
Okay.
Which actually, so this does brings me to a really interesting question. You've played both on and off the internet with some of these card games. How have you enjoyed playing Arena in this pandemic world-ending society we live in now versus going into card shops and malls and playing with people that way? Because there's a difference. There's definitely a difference I've noticed.
Yeah.
But how have you fared?
Initially, I loved Arena. I loved playing it. Put quite a bit of money into it, pre-ordering sets. So I had a ton of fun with it. And then I went to my first local Friday Night Magic, and I immediately hated Arena. One, Arena, it doesn't allow for misplay, so you don't realize that you're not really getting better at it. You're just kind of better at just playing the cards.
Right.
But you're not like your decision making and stuff like that. It's easier on here because there's no room for error. It won't allow you to misplay. Right. Versus in live play. Also, standard is a very, very terrible format compared to like modern and pioneer. There's no way in the world I would invest money into a rotating format because if I buy my cards, I want to play my cards. I don't want to sit here, 2 years later, my stuff just gets rotated down. I was like, oh, well,
Well, essentially, we did that with Yu-Gi-Oh! On the ban list that came around once a year.
And we sat there for years like idiots, and we just kept putting money into that damn game.
Yeah.
Now look back on it, I was like, man, what were we doing? But, we learned. We were young. We were stupid. So
that's true. We were stupid. If I could go back now, I would not buy a single Yu-Gi-Oh! Card ever. I would just save all that money while I was in high school and college.
Honestly, I probably would have stayed at Pokemon and then probably just transitioned to Magic.
You know what? That's a smart play because, like you, well, I didn't sell my Pokemon cards when I switched into Yu-Gi-Oh! Mine were unlawfully stolen from me in high school, and I know the person who did it. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how do you just steal someone's Pokemon cards in high school? Like, what the fuck? So yeah, I wish I had kept those cards and was just sold them off. I would be a lot wealthier person if I did.
Yeah.
Like I think I had the original Charizard that everybody was going crazy for, and oh my god, it's so much.
That card heavily played is still a $900 card.
Heavily played? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah,
okay.
That heavily played, you can still get around $900 for it. It's absolutely insane.
Wow.
But
that's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, so yeah, playing I agree with you. Playing Magic the Gathering in arena versus playing in real life, like you can kind of shut your brain off and just let the algorithm play and just watch it go. That's kind of like I build a deck that's kind of almost autopilot once you start playing it, and it's kind of fun. But like you can't take that deck and play in real life. You're not going to remember all the triggers and the rule sets and things like that.
Not at all.
And then like
not at all.
You can misplay, because I was misplaying those last couple of games because I had the creature on the field that turned all my creatures into lands, and like the phase thing was offset, so it will ask me if I want to use the mana before I could attack, and I kept tapping my creatures using mana thinking I'm attacking. So you got to pay attention, but it does kind of it doesn't make you better. It just makes you want to play. That's all it does.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And also too, like this is the first time I played Arena probably this year. Today.
Really?
Yeah. I've had no interest in playing since they pretty much the last rotation kind of decimated all the decks I play. And I'm so just ingrained in a modern now that I just don't really care for Arena unless they actually put modern into this game, which they never will do that.
No, and I don't really see how they could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they could do that, but it would break the game if they did that.
They would have to figure out a way to sell single cards, and I don't think they even want to try to figure that out.
No. And then especially with all this NFT stuff, I'm not going to spend money on a digital card that I don't have a physical copy of.
Exactly.
Because I know they have that feature where you can like build a deck and like whatever and buy the deck and have the actual deck shipped to you or whatever, all within Arena. But I'm like, this is kind of too much work. I'd rather just go buy the packs like I've been doing all my life and crack the packs, because that's a part of it that we ain't talked about. That's a fun experience. I still would want to go buy a booster box and spend like $150, $200 and just opening 36 packs and just finding the rare cards and stuff. That's fun to me. It's a waste of money, but it's fun.
Well, I like doing it, but I like drafting. So I mean,
I'm totally down to draft.
Fun.
Yeah, drafting fun.
Is absolutely fun.
Before the world ended, I was starting to get more into drafting, but now that the world ended, it just seems like the only thing I do is Arena, because like it was already a health hazard going into card shops and comic book shops. Like, not the shit on the geek community, but the geek community could use a shower every now and then.
Or at least wash the damn hands.
Or that. So like the idea of doing this and there's a global Vegeta boost. No, I'm not finna do that. Holy shit, the game's almost over with. Oh shit. Okay, I need to get better at Magic or have time to actually sit here and play this. Because my deck is I think I only won maybe one time. What am I doing? Just go. But yeah, I've enjoyed this conversation. I'm so glad you've been on. I know you go to Dragon Con every year, and still do I, and every year we try to link up and somehow we never do. Because I bring my Magic cards and I'm always planning to go to the gaming area and do a lot of playing, but I always end up just being stuck doing photography and doing video stuff because the cosplay. Then trying to do the small panels that I do. But this year we should definitely try to link up. I'm planning on shooting a documentary at Dragon Con this year, but I definitely would like to meet up with you and George and just Dragon Con's a party.
Most definitely. Party. And this is gonna be the first year I'm actually gonna cosplay. So
you too. What are you gonna cosplay as?
I got a few ideas. I got one I'm leaning heavy towards now. I don't want to say anything about it yet, but I'll definitely give you a heads up when I make a final decision. But I
Okay.
got a few ideas. But yeah, definitely, because we're definitely playing a lot of Magic. Last Dragon Con, we pretty much just walked around, ate a lot of ice cream because the people from Adult Sun were giving out free ice cream, so we ate a lot of ice cream.
I
We
did
drank a
not
lot
know
of
that.
alcohol. Yeah, right in front of the vendor hall, like all day and night. They were just giving out free ice cream.
I didn't. Well, I didn't go to the vendor hall until like Monday. When I say I booked last year to the brim, I booked last year to the brim and half of it fell apart, and I spent half the time at the Airbnb because I didn't want to walk up the hill. But I mean, I
Fair.
still had my own fun and everything like that. But I didn't get to the room until Monday, and even then, it was kind of like just a little too late to enjoy that part of the con. Do y'all get a hotel and do that, or y'all just show up and spend the day there and then go home? Because I get a hotel, I do it up, I make sure I bring enough stuff to party with and have fun with, and then just meeting all the friends that I haven't seen in a year.
Usually we just catch barter down there because we're right by a train station, so I just catch the
Gotcha.
train, go down there.
I definitely recommend one year y'all get an Airbnb or get a hotel and do it up, especially if you get like one of the nicer hotels that's not officially a part of con, so you don't have like to deal with the crowds, but it's still a part of con, so you get like a little discount. And like the amenities, I recommend the Embassy Suites that's across from the Centennial Olympic Park. The jacuzzi, the happy hour, the pool, the free breakfast at Ruby Chris is definitely recommended. If you like stay at the host hotels, you just got to deal with the crowd and the noise. It's just 24 hours partying. And then I think last year was my first year. I did the Airbnb, which was on the other side of where everything was, and all we had to do was just walk up the hill and we were at everything. So that was pretty fun. And like I said, it's a lot of drinking. You remember Tony, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got. Oh yeah, that dude, him and Mauricio and Tommy, all those guys back from my first Dragon Con. I slept under tables and in lobbies and begged for food my first year because of those people. Good times, good times. I had a really fun year. I really, we should get the old band back together. But anyway, thank you for coming on to the podcast. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and opinions about just playing, being a black nerd and playing TCG card games. I meant to ask you, like, outside of Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic, what other card games have you played? If you want to just answer that, then after that, we'll be done.
I play something like the deck building, like one-time games, like the DC deck building game, the Street Fighter one, but nothing like that require like true investment with time and stuff like that. So just some of those, but other than that, mainly just Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and now Magic.
Okay. Okay, cool. Do you and the wife play Magic together?
She has zero interest in learning.
Really?
She tried and she was like, nah, it's too much for me. I'm just gonna go back to this. So she just crochets. She watched a little Harry Potter. She's in the Grimm now, so she's been binge watching that.
Okay.
So she's just having the just crocheting nerd stuff and watching Grimm.
I think you should try teaching her again. I think that would be a good idea of whoever has to go do the dishes. Y'all just play a couple of games of Magic. Best 2 out of 3. Going to the grocery store, running errands. Come on, we got to play a game of Magic. You don't want to do it, you better beat me. I think that would be fun. I would do this. Yeah, if I was married, I would do that. That's how we would settle arguments.
Fair enough.
But where can everybody find you on the internet? If you want to give that part out, I don't think you want to.
All that I really have is on Twitter, but it's me just like getting the wrestling arguments with people. But it's KFLO87 is KFLO87 on Twitter. And I'm just on there just arguing about nerd stuff, wrestling, Star Wars, Marvel. So if you like to argue, like debate stuff, go ahead and add me.
Okay. Definitely add them on Twitter. And for everybody else, you can find me on Mark of Blerdography. This has been Blerdkast, but you can find me at Blerdography everywhere on the internet and Blerdography17 on Instagram. Don't ask why. And everywhere else, you can find me on YouTube at Blerdography. Check out my channel. Check out all my cosplay photography and other blurred videos. And I will see you guys next week with another... what am I doing? It's probably going to be another Black Nerd interview, so stay tuned to that. Oh, and let me know how you like this format of us just sitting here talking, playing Magic. First time doing this, we're gonna work the kinks out and get it done. But I think it went well.